Hello, hello. Hello. Good morning, esteemed guests, my colleagues and dear students. On behalf of the Journalism and Mass Communication Department, Sister Nivedita University, I welcome you all to the Media Literacy Workshop. To be more precise, Misinformation and News Literacy Workshop, hosted by Sister Nivedita University, Journalism and Mass Communication Department, and conducted by the Indian Institute of Journalism and New Media, based in Bangalore. So, especially the students who are here, you might be knowing that what you have some initial idea you have got that what media literacy is all about and why it is needed. And in this age of social media, you need to be a media literate, especially when you are a media student. So you know that media is a communication outlet which distribute information, facts, data, and also entertainment. And during this flow, I should say overflow of information, overflow of data, and overflow of entertainment also, there are many loopholes. And media literacy is nowadays, especially for the students like you, the media students, because this is an age of misinformation, disinformation, and fake news. In this age, you need to know deeply about what media literacy is all about and why you need to be a media literate. And that is why we have organized this workshop. We are very happy to have with us two very esteemed guests who will be conducting the workshops. Let me introduce them. We are very pleased to have with us Professor Kanchan Kaur and Professor Surekha Deepak. May we have a round of applause for them? I would request Professor Kaur and Professor Deepak to come on stage, please. I would also request our advisor, Professor Dr. Vurashiba Dasgupta sir, and my dear colleague Arindam Basu, to please come on stage and felicitate our guests. Students, please help out, sirs. Thank you, Vurashiba sir and Arindam, for felicitating the guests. Uh, Before our guests start their workshop, let me give a small introduction, a small brief about the guest for the students. Professor Kanchan Kaur is Dean, Indian Institute of Journalism and New Media, IIJNM, Bangalore. She is also an India assessor for the International Fact-Checking Network, which certifies fact-checking websites. She started her career in journalism by reporting the city of Bangalore for various small newspapers before moving on to the bigger ones like Indian Express, Deccan Herald, and the Gulf News. She has driven IIJNM's emphasis on multimedia and works on spreading news literacy. Professor Surekha Deepak is the Assistant Dean at the Indian Institute of Journalism and New Media. She has been with IIJNM for over 17 years. She teaches broadcast journalism and critical thinking skill for journalists, among other things. She worked with Inadu Television in Hyderabad and with Ramoji Film City in various roles in media and film production. She is also the part of the International Fact-Checking Network as an assessor. We are pleased to have both of them today. Ma'am, now the stage is all yours. You can. Whatever you are comfortable with, ma'am. Yeah.
Hello. Need the mic for the Facebook Live. Thank you. Yeah, got it. Thank you. Hi, morning. How much information do you have at your fingertips? How much information do you have? Loads, less, very little, more? Come on. You have everything. Everything in his hand. That's wonderful, right? Do we need so much information? Yes? Okay. Why do we need so much information? Keep yourself updated. Great. And why do you need to keep yourself updated? I know this is sounding like one terrible quiz, but why do you need to keep yourself updated? I'll come to you in a minute. The,
Because the world is growing at a rapid pace and we need to keep up to it.
okay. Someone else here had something to say?
For the future use, if we give, if we, yeah, if we,
Yeah.
so it would be very nice for the future use.
You're there. Just take one step further. You're there. Future use to do what?
Related to finance or policies.
Absolutely. To take decisions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What kind of decisions would you need information for? Development?
Development, both economic and intellectual development.
Excellent. So, what kind of decisions would you take for economic and intellectual development?
That depends upon the policies and the everything around there.
So, you'll figure out what the policies are and then
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah.
Yes? Brilliant. You guys are very good. So, we obviously know that information is power. Why do you think it's power? Is information power? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah? Why?
Because powerful information can bring down powerful people.
Brilliant. Tell me how. Yes, go on.
Information can change the world. Powerful information can change the world
And tell me how.
by awareness. Awareness means action. People can take action, and with technology also.
Okay. Excellent. You want to give us, anybody wants to give us an example of how powerful information changed anything?
Like right now we have Aadhaar card. So all the informations are stored in Aadhaar card. So anyone can access the information from there. So it is a powerful tool for the government to track everything.
And if we check on history, then we can know that the Harshad Mehta case was also brought down by a journalist. It was her whole efforts and everything that brought down the big bull of India.
Okay. Great. This is very, very good. So to just look at it very briefly, we're just talking about how we need access to credible information, right? And if we have access to credible information, we have a good democracy. Why is information connected to democracy? What is democracy? We all know what is democracy. Yes. You can sit down. You can sit down.
Democracy is actually a
This seems to go off.
yeah.
Yes. Go on.
Democracy is something in which we can elect someone, and he or she can fulfill our rights, our needs, and for that information is why it is needed, because we get to know about because government is a policy maker, and from there we get to know.
I think there's a problem with this battery. Yeah.
Democracy is something. Democracy is something by which an individual can raise their voice for themselves.
Yes. Yeah.
So-
Okay. More.
Arab Spring was there too. The social media in the North Africa triggered it.
Yeah. What about it? Yes, this Arab Spring was triggered by the social media
Yeah.
in the
Siana's
in Tunisia.
Tunisia.
Yes. That's such a good example, and we're going to come back to that in a minute. Yeah. So basically, a democracy is, at least in India, we have what's a representative democracy, which is every time a law is made, a policy is made, we can't get up and go and vote. So what we do is we demarcate areas, and then we say, okay, for Newtown, we are going to pick this one person who's going to go and do what we want that person to do, right? So the people who we send, right, Delhi to become our, thank you. I think it has to do with me, not with the mics. Right? To become our representatives, right? To do, or to Calcutta, to the assembly, right? They are our representatives. The trouble is we call them our rulers. They actually are representatives, right? We need to remember that. And so we need to have information about what is it that these representatives are these areas, yeah? So, no. I'm going to try and, but then if I don't wander, they won't respond, right? So we don't understand what's happening if we don't have enough information, and we take decisions on how we should vote with more information, right? Have you heard of this word? Tell you. What does it tell you? Someone's got to tell me what. Yes, go on.
So it is like the pandemic of information.
Pandemic of information, absolutely right. What does that mean? And what is an overload of information? Yes.
We have access to so much information nowadays that we don't know whether it is true or false.
Absolutely. So you have an information of things that we're looking at. One is an information storm where you suddenly, so if there's some breaking news, some incident happening, there's so much information coming that you don't know what to make of it, right? So yes. okay? And then there's the information overload that some of us were talking about, where we have so much information, we don't know what to do with it. And then there's an information void where there's so little information that we can't take decisions, right? So where do we get our information from?
Mostly from news and Google.
Okay, Google.
Yeah.
Okay, more, I want to hear more. Brilliant, social media platforms. And then, when you say news, what do you mean?
Both traditional and digital,
Okay,
like newspaper, magazine, news channels.
okay, this is really very good. Okay, so you get word of mouth, you're sharing information on WhatsApp, you're sending information across to people. You, of course, get it from social media, radio, TV, and you also get it from blogs and podcasts, don't you?
Ma'am, also banners.
Also?
Banners across the city.
Yes, banners across the city, posters, okay? What about these blogs and podcasts? How many of you listen to podcasts? Watch blogs, read blogs, watch vlogs? Lots of you. Okay, great. Now, let's take a quick look at what are the areas of information that we're going to talk about over here. We're going to look at what these things are. We're going to look at what is raw information. We're going to look at what is advertising. We're going to look at promotion. We're also going to look at what is propaganda and entertainment. And then we're going to compare all of this with journalism. Right? Okay. What is this? Anyone recognize this photograph? Brilliant, tell us. Okay. What's happening in this photograph?
This was the time when the incident took place and how this Black Lives Matter formed.
Yeah, it was formed earlier, but it was revived
Came into
with
the
this.
light.
Right. So what's happening here? What is happening here is there's a black man who's being, in this case, this white police officer has his knee on this black man's neck and kept his knee until this man stopped breathing and he died. Now, if we look at what's here in this photograph was part of a video that was taken by a 17-year-old girl who stood there and watched the whole thing and recorded it, right? And eventually her video was used as evidence against the white policeman, right? And she also got a Pulitzer Prize for public interest for this video, right? But why do we call it raw information?
Ma'am, because this is related to citizen journalism. She isn't a journalist or anything. She just took the footage and promoted it online.
Very good. And so can you take the thought further? You're absolutely right. Can you just explain that further and why is it called raw information? And so the information that we got from Tunisia on social media, like she mentioned earlier, that too was raw information. Can you tell me why it's called raw?
Ma'am, if I am not too wrong, then that this situation came into light in the year 2013 when
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter was brought into light to the social media.
Yeah.
And many people throughout the world connected to it, related to it. Some even protested against it. But
Why is it called raw? It's not cooked. It's not edited. Brilliant. Yes, it's not edited or tampered with, right? So basically, it's information that is yet to be verified. It is yet to be examined. It's unfiltered, right? And we don't know whether this information is correct or not, right? Even the videos that came out of Tunisia, out of Egypt, out of that entire Arab Spring thing, we didn't know whether it was really true or not, right? And then there is advertising, right? What happens with advertising? What is happening here? This is the Indian Express, and that's Jain University. Is the Indian Express talking about the Jain University here? What do you think? Sorry? Come on, give it a shot. It's all right if you're not exactly correct. Yes? Does the Indian Express have anything to do with this? No, they're just advertising. Why do you say no? You're right, but tell me why. Because they're getting paid for it. Right? It's not an editorial, they're getting paid for it. What about this? You see this at every website. So if you see the last box over there, it says, while others imposed lockdown, we imposed curfew, and it's the Himachal Chief Minister. Does it not sound like news to you? Yes? Yeah? But it's actually not news. Is it news? So if you see, yeah. Towards my laptop, sorry. No, but I want to point to it. So if you see the arrow mark there, and it points to a word called sponsored. So what does that mean? Does it mean it's been paid for? What does the word sponsored mean? Come on, it's okay, you can tell us. Sorry?
That the brand or someone is sponsoring to like show them the news.
Right, so it's
paid.
sponsored, it's paid
Yeah.
for, right? So when advertising pretends to be news, and it's sitting over here pretending to be news, it becomes what is called native advertising. And this is something you need to look out for as well. Who's this? Why is she suddenly famous? She came to India for what?
She came to India for performing at the Ambani's pre-wedding.
Okay.
And her humble nature took over the Indians in a matter of moments.
Humble nature, is it?
Yes.
Do you
ma'am.
remember she got into trouble for tweeting about the farmers' protests a couple of years ago? What did she do then? Does anyone remember? No? No? So what she did was, at that point of time, she had said that the government should listen to the farmers, and she is supporting the farmers' protests. And then the government at that point of time had said about how she has no business interfering in India's affairs, and she's this anti-national. Right? Yeah, but here she is performing. So what is this? What's this? What are they doing over here? They're just giving her publicity. It's a news article, but they're giving her publicity. Yeah? What do you think is propaganda? I want to hear from you. Yeah.
Actually, Ambani is collaborating with Rihanna because Sephora, the brand, that's Ambani is taken over the Indian branch. So that was one of the technique the PR used to collaborate with her.
This is so good. This is brilliant. You want to tell us a little more about that?
Okay, so Rihanna has a cosmetic brand, I think named Rene. So as Sephora is coming to India and
What is
Ambani's-
Sephora?
It's a makeup, we could say like brand where different brand comes together
Okay.
and they just sell their product.
Yeah.
So Ambani collaborated with it and took over the Indian sales.
Yeah.
And so they are collaborating with Rihanna to promote her and her brand at the same time.
That's very good, right? Okay, so that was about promotion and publicity. Let's talk propaganda. What is propaganda? Come on. You're going to make me walk up there without the mic. I've given up on mic. So what is propaganda? What do you think? Promoting an agenda. Brilliant. Repeatedly to talk about something. That's very good. Anybody else? Propaganda. And why are you promoting an agenda? Okay. What would those motives be? What could those motives be? You're absolutely right. Just take it one step further. Anyone else? Propaganda. Yes, what kind? It's okay. What kind of purpose? You're right, you're not wrong. You just have to take that one step further. Let me show you quickly. Huh? No, I'll do it. So it's basically ideas that you're spreading to actually help somebody or harm somebody. There are lots of us who say demonetization is a great idea, and there are lots of others who say demonetization was a bad idea, right? So we are divided on it. So in the 1920s, the US, for instance, was divided on this whole business of prohibition. What is prohibition? Prohibition is when you don't sell alcohol, right? So if you look to the left of it, there's a whole lot of posters saying alcohol is bad. And if you look to the right of it, it says alcohol is great and that they should, if there's no beer, no work, and so on. Right? So propaganda can be both ways. It can work both ways. Is something you should worry about. And then there is entertainment where we have fun, we're doing nothing, we are just enjoying ourselves with it. What then is journalism? Tell me, what is journalism? Some of you are studying journalism. Reporting facts. Okay, news. Okay. Very good, brilliant. What else?
To spread information.
Spread information. That's very good. Impactful to the audience. So, telling people, the definition I have here is telling people what they need to know and what they want to know. Right? How many of us know anything about the electoral bonds? Okay. How many of us can list 5 people who came to the Ambani wedding? Come on, put your hands up. There's nothing to be ashamed of here. It's just a matter of fact, right? We can list 5 people who came to the wedding. Okay, give me the list. Huh? Rihanna, Shah Rukh Khan, Mark Zuckerberg. Sorry? Alia Bhatt. Right? So we can list 5 people, right? So this is information we want to know, and this information we need to know, right? We need to eat our vegetables, but we want that Maggie, and we want that chocolate, right? Absolutely, but we need to know this. Now, so if there is, so let's say you saw a friend going down the road and eating something she shouldn't be eating, and then you go around telling all your friends, look, I saw this friend at this other restaurant, right? Now, this is information. You're telling people what they want to know. You go home, for instance, after this class, and your mom asks you, so what did you do today? A lot of you will give a one-word answer, nothing. I used to get that constantly from my son. What did you do in school today? Nothing. Right? But there are some of you who will go and tell the whole story about how this old woman was supposed to come and talk to us, but she came 15 minutes late, she has no sense of timing, whatever, and you're going to tell her the whole story, right? Right? Again, this is information she wants to know. But in these both instances, is that journalism? Why not? Why is it not journalism? You're saying no. What's the difference between information you're giving your mom or your friend and journalism? What? I can't hear you.
Ma'am, with the help of journalism, we spread the news to literally the whole world. And if we give any information to our mom or dad, that information is very limited to only those 2 people.
Yes. So you want to give it a word. You said to the whole world. So it has to be
Globally.
So it has to be of public interest.
Public interest.
Yes. And what else is the other information? What else makes it journalism? You're right. Also, it has to be timely. Very good. It has to check the authenticity of the news.
And ma'am, it has to be crisp.
Yes. Right? So we use standards, right? And we also use ethics and values. We don't talk gossip. We have critical thinking. We think about it very carefully. And we have a crucial function in democracies, right? We've discussed why we have a crucial function in democracies. Why is journalism related to democracy? How about a dictatorship and journalism?
Ma'am,
Does it work?
because
Yes. Somebody else was going to say something here.
ma'am, in dictatorship, the government controls the media.
Yes.
So the government has the power to spread the news what they want to spread and spread propaganda at the same time.
So that's not journalism, right?
No, that's not.
That's not journalism, right? So you can't have journalism without a democracy, and you can't have a democracy without journalism. That's something you need to keep in mind. Okay? So basically, if you look at the two elements of journalism, its first obligation is to the truth, and two, it's a discipline of verification. Right? If it's not verified, it's not journalism. It's as simple as that. Then what is news? We said what's journalism, what is news?
Anything that is fresh is news.
Anything that is fresh is news. They just dug the road outside your house, outside your college, and it's news. I tripped and fell, it's news. Is it news?
Ma'am, a dog bites a man isn't a news, but when a man bites a dog, it's news.
What does that say to you? That's correct, but what does that say to you? It's unusual, right? But here we're talking about what is correct, and so we're saying information that's verified. And information that comes from an independent source, not somebody who's owned by Ambanis, right? And information that they are accountable for. So mostly large media houses are usually independent, not always, as we will learn in India, and they are accountable for the information they put out, right? So we're looking at three traits, which is verification, independence, and accountability, right? And there's gatekeeping. So gatekeeping is what makes journalism different from gossip or dinner time conversations that we have. And the gatekeeping happens at three levels. So the reporter will check the information that's given to them. So if the Municipal Corporation Council calls and says that we are going to build a new overbridge from Newtown to the airport, the reporter's got to check if that proposal has been put out actually with the Municipal Council, or the chairman is just saying it out of their heads, right? Then the desk will check if the reporter has actually spoken to the chairperson and has actually seen the documents that have been put out by the municipal corporation. And then the fact checker will check if it's actually 25,000 crores or it's 25,235 crores. Right? Is it really accurate? So that's what happens with journalism. With journalism, you have a lot of gatekeeping and you have a lot of verification. Okay? But what happens in non-traditional media? What happens in social media? What do you do?
There is no fact checking in social media
Why?
because everyone can post whatever they want. There is no gatekeeper there.
There's no gatekeeper, right? We decide, you decide. Now this is going on Facebook Live.
And ma'am, social media is free for everyone.
Yes.
So there is no restrictions on them.
There are absolutely no restrictions, so they can put what they like and they can say it is true and we have no way of finding out. But we have ways of finding out, and which is what you're going to be doing in a bit, right? So there's only one swipe and there's no gatekeeping. All of us have become producers, and so we can just upload any information we want. What we are doing is either we are putting up raw information, which might not be in the correct context, or we're putting up manipulated information. Did any of you read the whole thing about the Princess of Wales and that photograph that they had put out? Yes? What happened there?
the day after, which was uploaded, it was accused that some person in their palace don't know how to edit, so that becomes a very funnily
Yes.
controversy.
Right. So somebody had tampered with that photograph, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And they said that photograph was edited, which is not how you put out news photographs, right? So then what is a good story? A good story is true and verified, and it has multiple sources. It's not just one person who says that that flyover is going to be built. It's the municipal councillor, it's the mayor, it's the documents. And those sources have to be named. I'm sure you've seen a lot of stories that say sources told us, unnamed sources told us, reliable sources told us, anonymous sources told us, right? But when you read that anonymous sources bit, you have to be suspicious. Because if they don't name those sources, there's something wrong there, right? Unless, of course, there's a danger to the life and the living of that source concerned, right? Journalists should also be transparent. They should tell you how they got this information, right? They should be transparent to the point where you should be able to go get that information yourself. They should say this information is available in this budget document, and the link to this budget document is here, right? So journalists need to be very transparent, right? Who's this guy? Beer biceps guy. How many of you watch him? See? A whole lot of. What do you get from him? Information. Brilliant. What else? Motivation. And then? This is very good. Go on. I can't hear you. Infotainment. Okay, that's very good. But what is he putting out news or is he putting out opinions? Opinions, and you know that. You sure you know that? Yeah? So we need to look out for this. There's always a difference between news and opinion. And we shouldn't get carried away by opinion. We do have opinion in newspapers, media houses, but that's called opinion. It's not pretending to be news. Right? News will just give you the facts, but opinion will give you arguments. News will tell you an event happened, but opinion will tell you the analysis behind that event, right? News is objective, but opinion is a lot more subjective, right? So we need to be able to distinguish that. And that is where I come to this. You need to be able to consume news critically, right? And you should ask these questions. Where is this news coming from? Who's the source? Don't say Google, because Google is just a search engine. Google is listing out sources. You need to know which source it's coming from, right? And you also need to know, what do I know about this? How much is this person telling me about it? How do I know anything about it, right? And what is it that I don't know? What information is missing here? What's the void here? And is the information enough for you to take a decision, to reach a conclusion, right? Do you know enough for you to be able to get out of home and come to college, or not come? Yeah, you need to know more. And can you share this information without spreading rumors? Yeah, so these are the questions you ask. And more importantly, you need to have an open mind. I'm going to talk about this last point for a minute. What is the purpose of the brain? What does the brain do? Why is the brain there? That is at a different level. But as far as the body is concerned, why is the brain there? Sorry? It ensures that the body functions properly, right? So because the brain ensures that the main job of the brain is to ensure that the body functions properly. So when there is information, or when there's something that brings stress to the body, it tries to block that. So when there's information that comes in that you don't believe in, it tries to block it and say, don't believe in this. Don't listen to it. And which is why we have what's called a cognitive bias problem, where the brain's trying to block information. We need to be able to challenge that and say, let's look at something that I might not believe in, but there might be some truth in it. Right? So we need to challenge our own thinking in it. And the way to do it is to ask questions. Right? And then how do you deal with information that comes your way? What kind of questions must you ask, and how must you look at information is what Surekha is going to do from here. Yeah? And we'll take questions at the end. Is that all right? Great. Do you want to get up and change places? No? No? You want to get up and do the floss dance? No? You know how to do the floss dance? No. Okay. I'm going to take this. Yeah.
One minute. Let me just put this on. Power, this black one is it? One minute, I just power it.
Ma'am, do you need the changer?
Sorry?
The changer?
No, it's just a, it's not a Mac system. Later I will need video I'll play. So that time I need audio.
So you have your video?
It's here. It's in the. You can even just keep it, I'll plug it in only towards the end where I'm talking. Yeah, it is a bit too much in the face. No? Carry your viewer. This is. Should we give them a couple minutes? Please come. Okay, I don't have this on. The changer? Fine. I think they should be on this side as well. That's okay, I can just come straight here. Is this on?
No, you can hold it over here because if you press over
Yeah,
over
yeah.
there,
Okay, so we need to just change it to the mode.
full screen. It's written start from the beginning.
Okay, so this is where Kanchan left you with, and we'll start straight away, and I'm not going to do the up and down right now, in a bit. But when we're talking about information, how do we, it's not that we all process the information in the same way, right? Each of us can hear it and respond to it differently. How we react to the news, of course, is very individual. What might scare you may not scare me. I may be terrified of dogs, and another person just loves them, right? And this is exactly what happens. So if you're if everybody is pointing, like when you were children, everybody in your neighborhood thoughts that you have to eat puchkas every day. I'm in Calcutta, so, right? So we've been experimenting with this. And we've been eating puchkas, yeah. So if everybody told you that's the best food to eat, right? And you're convinced then that there is no other option. And you're not going to say, no, I don't like puchkas. It's not, I don't know where the water is coming from, right? You'll all eat puchkas. Do you? Every day? We got a lot of theory about how puchkas are eaten and how only women eat puchkas yesterday. But this is what we do. In a way that we don't want to resist the view of the majority. And why do you think that's so? Why do we not want to be different, think independently? What could be the challenge?
Because of judgments.
People will judge you. All right? You're afraid people will judge you. Anything else? What will they think of you?
They might judge us. We are thinking differently for that.
Is it bad to be different? It's not, right? But the question comes when you're responding to information, for example, and you get WhatsApp forwards from your family and your friends and everybody else, and you think it's not the right thing. Will you stand up and say, I can't, this is wrong? You just ignore it. And you let the lie continue, right? So this is what we do, is that we don't want to stand there and defend yourself, think you're different. It's a problem, because this is how we've evolved, because it was safe to be in a herd. If you look at evolution itself, if you went and did something different, you possibly put the whole tribe at risk, right? So we were, in a way, evolved to be team players, right? Not go and be different and do something that is not what everybody else in your group is doing. And this is something that's natural over, like we've said, over evolution, right? So we do, also now if you're looking at information, and what I gathered also is that most of you get information not only from the traditional gatekeeping media, you're getting it from so many other sources, right? And when you do that, what do you believe? It's not that we automatically go and check and verify news. It's not something that we do all the time. What do you believe? I'm going to see a message today that tells me that the underground underwater metro is going to be expanded, and we're going to have this service going from, I don't know, for another 50 kilometers, right? I see that message today. I see it again tomorrow. And I cite five other people who have forwarded that and liked it, so it shows up on your feed. Would you believe it or not? You will believe it, right? Because it keeps coming up so often on your feed. You think it must be true. And you also have some context about something with an underwater metro that's happening in your city. So you take some of it, and then you believe whatever else that can come up without verification. Yeah. Yes, it is. Sure. Very true. But I was talking not only about, we'll come to the importance of checking the source in a bit, but also how you look at any piece of information that comes your way. It's not that the mainstream media have not made mistakes, right? It's also possible, and there are very many instances of that. The other thing that social media does is that it gives you visuals, it puts a face to it, it gives you video, and somebody will stand there and tell you that if you want long, lustrous hair, you have to have biotin. Right? How many of you buy it? Who would buy it? There's a lot of people who there's a whole market going around with that. But it's not verified information. It's just that it's constant repetition. Right. These are very stupid. I'm sorry, but this is the kind of information that's available, saying if you eat raw onions, you're going to be cured of diabetes. It's also dangerous, right? I know you won't believe it, so I don't expect you to go there. But you know, just the fact that it seems like it's some official media that they're putting up. How many of you drank some sort of a concoction to help you resist COVID? Everyone did. Yeah, it's just that. Does it have any scientific proof? We don't know. Did you have a kada? Did you drink turmeric? Did you have garlic poured down your nose? So there was all sorts of horrific ones. Some were easier to do because it fitted in. It was easier to do. So you drank it. And then they told you it's better, it's not going to do you any harm. So drink it. Horlicks. Immunity. So they used this in times of fear, in times of unrest. For example, if you look at what's happening in Ukraine or with Gaza, there's a lot of misinformation that comes out because of the conditions there which are already chaotic, right? And that's also what happened during COVID. You had everything from vaccine fears, people telling them, don't go take the vaccine because it's going to cause other issues. You're going to get a heart attack if you get a vaccine, to drink kada or take a pill, right? They were also selling some Ayurvedic pill, huge market at that time. So it's important that you actually look at any information that you're getting and look at the context of where you're getting the information from and the source, like you said. Where is this information coming from? Who's telling me this? Is the source credible, and does it make sense, right? So again, we're looking for different perspectives. Ouch. Oh my God. Sorry. Shouldn't be walking around. Okay. I'll try and be stable here. Okay. How would you search for an alternative perspective, even if we're talking about the COVID story of the fear of vaccines, right? Is there a way that you could go and search for information that could help you make up your mind? You'd go and look for scientific studies, right? You'd see what the WHO put out, for instance, to see if there's any validity in the fear of taking vaccines. So why is critical thinking important? It helps you identify misinformation. It helps you know that if you eat raw onions, it's not going to help you with diabetes. It helps you identify that. It'll also help you to evaluate the information and the contents of what is there, right? So it may be partially true. There may be some truth to it. You don't know if you should drink ginger water every day, but it's okay, it's no harm. It'll help you figure out where you stand with the information. And I'm using these really simple examples, but it applies to everything, whatever you come across, right? What else does it do? It helps you from, like you said, ignore the claims and not forward it. At least you're not contributing actively to the spread of misinformation, right? So that's a big thing. And of course, you can make your decisions based on evidence then, because you have the information. Okay, do you think this is true? The story, and I don't know, you're quite far off, so it says Kerala, drone spot missing child in a drain. And there's a picture of a drone. So there was a child who was missing, and there was a drone flying around, and they spotted this child lying in a drain a few kilometers away from where the child was reported missing. Do you think it's true?
Ma'am, cannot be sure if it is true without knowing the source from where it's coming. And there is no picture of the child we can see over here. So
Yeah, so it's-
that is a question too.
Okay, so you see the picture of a drain, and it's most likely a representational picture, not that of the child missing. So there's a question mark. But this was reported in the Indian Express, Kerala. Now would we believe it?
Okay, so now we know it's Indian Express, so we are trusting it, but we'll go to another channel too, like Hindu.
To see
And
if
all.
the same story
Yeah.
is reported. Brilliant, you've done the work already. There's not much more to say, but that's it. When you're not sure about something, definitely lateral thinking is something, or lateral reading is something that you should do. I'll be mindful. So you have to check the credibility of the source, and the problem with that, okay. No, it's not. So the question is not just that you don't trust the source, but if the information that comes to you is something you want to believe in, you're less likely to be so skeptical, right? So there's this tweets that keep coming up every so often that says, we have, UNESCO declares India has the best prime minister. Would you believe it? Yeah? Some would. It also has another tweet that will say, UNESCO declares India has the best national anthem. Will you believe it? You want to, right? Because, yeah, we're the best, right? Every country thinks they're the best. But the problem is, we don't know if it's really put out by UNESCO. And so we want to believe when it suits the way we think. So to again check the credibility of, and the problem with credibility, okay. Right, so if we look at, I'm going to take you back a few years. I'm going to play a video. I hope you can see it. Can you see it from there? I'll actually just play it full screen 1 second. Okay, so this video, when WhatsApp, I think a few years ago when WhatsApp first came in, was viral. And everybody, what do you think the impact of this video was? What did you see? You saw some children playing on the street. Two people come on a bike and kidnap a child and go, right? And when this went viral saying they're kidnappers in your town, be careful. Does anyone know what happened? You must have been children, but about 10 years ago. Closed. No, they were not related to him. What happened actually is that people got suspicious of any stranger who came to their place. Right? So if you imagine a small town, a village, and they have this video going around on WhatsApp saying people are coming and kidnapping children. It led to violence, and in India, people lost their lives. Close to 70 people were died because the locals beat them up. All right? So they had a stranger who came in, and they thought it was these people, and they beat him up. There was a story about a Google engineer from Hyderabad who came to Karnataka as well. He went to a place called Kolar, which is very close to Bangalore, and it was his hometown. He took chocolates for the children, and that made them even more suspicious. And they started to attack him, and he thought he was very smart and he'd escape. He went to the neighboring village. But this WhatsApp thing was sent to the next village as well, saying, okay, these guys are coming. He was caught and beaten up, and very unfortunately, I don't think he made it. But that's the point when also a lot of laws around sharing on social media, all of that changed. But this is what happens when you think it's innocuous, you think you're doing a good job, telling people to be careful and not leave their children unattended. But the consequences can be quite scary, right? What's ironic is that video, if I play the rest of it, it's a public service message created in Pakistan telling people to be careful and not leave the children unattended. So it's an old video that was taken and edited, just the end where they come out and put up a sign saying be careful. That's been edited out and caused havoc. Just to emphasize, I think, again, the need to be more responsible with what you share, and even if you think you're doing a good thing, if you haven't verified it. What do we do? Why do we send this? Why do we send messages? Because we want to be accepted, right? I find something funny, I want to share it. You're going to also find it funny, and you're going to continue sharing this, right? You want to please, anything to stop conflict. We don't want to get into trouble. So what you have to do as part of being this critical thinkers is to not be afraid of thinking differently, of thinking out of the box, thinking independently, right? Another concern with the problem of thinking or with thinking independently is biases. Do we have biases? I think we all do, right? In different ways. Why do biases exist? I think this is something Kanchan touched upon, because biases help us avoid things that make it difficult. We don't want to be stressed, anxious, or in pain. And to learn anything new is more work for the brain. Don't want. If you give me information that's pre-digested, I will believe it. I don't want to put in the work to check and verify. But in the times that you're living in, this is the switch you have to make. You have to turn gatekeepers. You can't rely on, unless you're, again, looking at mainstream established media that you think you can trust, you have to turn gatekeepers and figure out this information for yourself, whether it's credible, it's not. This is what happens when, what's a filter bubble? What do you think it is? It's also how social media works, okay? So in a way, I'm going to link it up. How many of you watch cat videos? Cats or dogs? Okay, you can take your pick. Cat videos, dog videos? Yes? All of you? What happens if you watch one? What happens to your timeline if you watch one cat video?
The whole timeline showing the same thing.
You have more recommendations and there are more cat and dog videos, and at the end, you're going to think that the world is full of people who love cats, right? It's not true. But this is this is also how the logarithm works. It gives you more of what you like and what it thinks you like, right? So information is already being filtered, and you're creating this bubble of some sort of and you can apply this to other things. It's not just cat videos. It could be a song, it could be your political views, it could be views on development, it's anything. But it's the same principle that works. The other way social media functions is you get feed from the people you know, right? All your people, the friends you like. Mostly, who are our friends? Who are our friends? Who do you have as friends on social media?
Our colleagues and someone we know.
People you know?
Yeah.
Largely people who might have the same views, right? You have common interests, therefore have common views. So what happens is that you are going to get the same information again, firstly because of the nature of social media, but also because of the kind of people who are going to post. They're going to post what you like. Let's assume you are a, I don't know, fan of who? Shah Rukh Khan. So you're going to have a world full of Shah Rukh Khan fans because that's what your friends are going to, they're also going to post you and tag you because they think you should like Shah Rukh Khan, right? So this is what's going to happen. And does this eventually lead to poor decision making? We probably have saying we have no cat allergies because everybody likes cats. And there's nothing else in the world except how do I worry about buying a cat tree for my cat, or I don't know, it just becomes ridiculous, right? Right, we're going to see if you have any biases. Can you answer this? Complete the sentence for me. And I'm leading you on saying it's a bias. So, students from Sister Nivedita University are? Awesome. Awesome, wonderful, so good to hear. What else? You're multi-talented, awesome, multi-talented. What else? Sorry? Unique. Wonderful. That's why it's so much fun being here. You're world famous. Oh my God. Let's just wait a tad for that. We'll get there. But is it factual? Is it factual? You are. Yeah, definitely. No. Okay, that's reality check coming from the other side. So mainly your biases, of course we think like, it's like with that other tweet where we said we have the best prime minister, we're the best national anthem, we have the best everything, right? It's similar to that. We like to believe. We like to believe we are good, and anything that we see as the other is bad. And that's a problem, right? So when we are looking at biases, it's that you tend to believe because people around you believe, because it confirms your existing beliefs. Biases help, usually end up discriminating against gender, and the other thing that we spoke about already is about seeing or hearing the same things. All right, there's an image here. Is there a bias in this? The two photographs. What do you see? What do you see in the photograph? No, what do you see in the photograph? Girls are doing chores and boys are going to school? Is there a bias? Yes? Where's that idea coming from? It's a stereotype and you're seeing it here.
But I see child labor happening
You
here.
see it as child labor happening, okay? Is there any basis for that information? How do you know that those girls are not going to leave the water at home and go to school? It's just, again, the way we see the world depends on the worldview that we have. And this is common. It's not that it's that, you're basing it out of nothing. This is also what we see a lot of, and people have been fighting against this for years now. So it's easy to spot and to already project your biases on it, right? There's nothing in the information. You don't have enough information to say that girls are being discriminated here, right? Pay attention. So I'm going to very quickly run you through some pointers. I think some of you mentioned a bit of this already. but I'm going to really quickly run you through and we'll do a couple of exercises, okay? Yeah. So pay attention, observe. When you get a message, read it, verify it before sharing. We'll talk about how you verify it right now. Ask yourself who's behind the information. This is something that you already said. What's the evidence and what do other sources say? Right? This is something that you mentioned, right? When you look at the Kerala story, I'll check if anybody else has reported it. It's brilliant. That's exactly how you do it. So you check and search for other sources. Check and see the date of publication. It may not be the first time. It's like with that WhatsApp video, it was published and also debunked and published many times before it was stopped. So please check date and time. Check the comments. A lot of times people like you will comment and say, this is fake. So you don't have to do the work again. Be very careful about checking the website name. You have things like Limes of India instead of Times of India. So be careful because there are people out there just to, I don't know, cause trouble. How can you verify? You can just Google search it or Yandex or any other search engine. I don't know what you look, DuckDuckGo, whatever you want to use. You can do a text verification. How will you search for images? Do you have any idea? Google will come to, but just images, you can also just do something called a Google reverse image search. Okay? And videos you can do, there are all these apps that are there that you can just download on your phone. It can just sit in with your browser, and it's very easy to use those tools now. Right? So you can use InVid for video verification and also for data. So what you're going to do is ask yourself this. Right. So 1 month free recharge because of the wedding coming up and his birthday. True? Fake? How do you know? Again, the question is, you didn't know if the girls were not going to school or not. Instinctively, instinct is a good place to start. Right? You know there's something off. Ambani is not likely to give free stuff. Great. But the point is you need to verify. How would you verify it? I don't have a GeoSIM. Okay, let me just confess. I don't have GeoSIM. How would I know?
Ma'am, we have that app.
What would you just do a Google search, right?
Simply by
If I did a plain simple text search, it will bring me to information that tells me it's wrong. So the question is not that you know. You may smell that it's off, it's something not right here, but it's very important that you verify it for yourself. Right? You want to believe you'll get free unlimited data for a month, but there's a need to verify. This is again a video about a leopard going and drinking water in a swimming pool in Ranthambore in Rajasthan. Right? So if we just do a keyword search, it's already taking you to stories that have debunked it and said it's not true. Right? So Google reverse image search works like this. You just drop and put in your photograph or your URL also, and it will help you find the thing. InVid, the video thing that I was talking about, what InVid does is it takes certain frames out of the video that you upload and does the reverse image search, and it tells you when the first time it was published and who published it, because that gives you also an idea about the location. Many times they take a story from one location and pretend it's another one. Right? So recently there was a story that was being debunked that of a woman being killed, and they said it's from the Northeast, but it was actually from South America. So it's very easy to change the location, and this is what will help you do. so that it grabs the frames and then you can figure out where. Google Maps or Google Earth is another useful device to check. Do you recognize this place? You're too far off, I think. That's your college. And this is from Google Earth this morning. Right? So you can do, and I'll show you an example that I found was very interesting, where they used Google Earth to debunk. So there was this train collision in Orissa recently, a couple of months ago. Yeah? So what they said was that the Muslim community was behind the incident because there's a mosque. And they pointed to this structure here and said there's a mosque. And therefore, you know, it's some theory. So what happened, they used Google Maps to find the location. What they found, so you have this viral photo that went, you have Reuters, you have AFP, all of them did this Google Earth search. What they find is that it was a temple. It was an ISKCON temple. There. So they took a part of that image and said it's a mosque. I'm just giving you so many examples just to convey one idea, right? Be very careful about what you believe, even if there's visual proof. And now, of course, all of you have Google Lens, right? Yes? Brilliant. This is what you're going to use now. We'll do some exercises and you're going to tell me not just if what if I'm showing is factual or not, but you're going to tell me why. How did you come to this conclusion? Right? Kanchan is going to offer you some freebies, some incentives, I think. And it's not fake. You know how to use Google Lens, all of you? Does anyone need to be told? You can also use it for Google Translate, for everything else, right? Right, but you have to tell us not just whether it's fact or fiction. I'll tell you something, that most of what you're debunking is out there. I haven't created this. I haven't generated any of the images. Right? So you're going to tell me, based on what do you say it's fact or not? We have a very wonderful Bengali actor, right? So, if you need to come closer and take the picture, please do. Because also there's this camera in the middle, yeah? So. It says from the set of Deadpool 3. What's Deadpool 3?
It's a movie, upcoming movie.
From?
Marvel Studios.
From Marvel, okay. All your superhero fans, let's see. Is he part of Deadpool 3? No, no, no. You have to give me proof. You have to give me proof. Yeah, Google Lens. Do you want me to take the mic? Your net is not working. I don't know what does it say in Bengali there? Ah. Oh, it's a rare picture of the Hollywood stars with Mithun Chakravarti. Lovely. It's edited. Okay. Where did you get that? From Google only? Google is not, yeah. You used Google Lens and it led you to?
No. It led
And
you to a space where the original picture was.
which site?
Is where?
Filmfare.com. Okay, I have another, I think he should get the chocolate. Yes. Although it should be half, but right, so if you, we can. That's, all right. It's also been debunked. There was also a tweet by one of the people involved with the film saying, be careful that this is the original image. Don't share information. So this is another way of checking that. Okay. This one should be easy. So we gave you a whole bunch of tools, right? So what does it say? Mark Zuckerberg, but he's actually a man from Nigeria. True, not true? No, we have silence. Do you think it's true? Obviously not. Right, so brilliant. How do you know that?
Recently in many of the Instagram pages I have seen.
But how do you know this one?
And this one is also one of the videos which is edited. Remember, recently.
You're not giving me the answer. You're very close. Your reason is true. But how do I know from this? I know. Oh no. I'm going to split the chocolate bar between like 5 people then. So then it's pointless. So let's see. There you are. Actually, for this one, you didn't have to use Google Lens. All you had to do was observe. It's right here.
Ma'am, this was made by Radio Demon 9 someone.
Okay, but if you look and you just observe, right? You just have to look at the image. It's the first thing we said, right? Observe. Be careful. But it's good. I'm glad you learned how to use it. But I think that one who first, yeah, the first one, yes. Okay, we will hold. This one doesn't get a chocolate, but you can still tell me. So did Burj Khalifa in Dubai has Rama on the day of Ayodhya? This is not a chocolate question, but true or false? Yeah, I know, but you have to base it on what? How do you know? You have to show it to us. You have to show me. Why? There's no comments. Very uncommon these days, okay?
Independence Day, do it for.
It's true? What does it say? Read. She got to it, and it says NDTV is saying it's a fake image, and you think NDTV posted it, therefore it's true. So be very careful.
It's fake because ABP Live has posted that it's fact-checked.
It's fact-checked. That's the point.
Fact-checked it, right?
So did NDTV, and they've said it's fake.
Fact-checked it. But
Right?
you instinctively saw it on MTV and you thought it was true.
It was true.
But you did
NDTV, right? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, but that's the idea. It's just going to take you a few seconds to fact check. Go ahead and fact check it. Okay, this is I think the traffic here is as bad, but Bangalore, people think, has the worst traffic in. I'm going to show you another video. What's a hyperloop? Next one. We've done two, right? Yeah, so Bangalore, I think, has made world headlines for having crazy traffic, but Calcutta, let me tell you, is no better. We just got, we got really true, right? Yeah, she's lived in both places. But so, what's a hyperloop, by the way? Okay, no, but that's different. But just tell me what a hyperloop is. It's saying there's a hyperloop in Bangalore, but what's a hyperloop? Quickly search and tell me if you don't know what it is. What's a hyperloop? That's one step ahead. Hey Google, what's hyperloop? Right, what is it? So it's a high-speed transportation system. So they're making fun saying, look at how terrible the roads in Bangalore are. Right, if I had to verify this, what would happen? Brilliant. She's found, it's been fact-checked, and it's actually from?
India Today.
Yeah, no, but where is the video from? So it's a video from Bombay. Like I told you, that's why Google Earth also. So it's a video from Bombay. They've taken, okay, from Thane to be very specific, and said, here's Bangalore. What it does, it reinforces stereotypes. You know that Bangalore already has traffic. Therefore, yes, of course, people must be driving through pipes. It must be true, right? This is what it does. This is what fake and misinformation does. It reinforces all your biases, and it makes it a little crazy. All right. This one should get a prize. Yeah, there's no audio for some reason. Do you know who this is? No, sound is full. 100%. Okay. No. It's full. Speakers? Sorry, I'll just take a second while he gets that organized. So who's Zelensky? What was he before he was the president of Ukraine? He was an actor. What else? He was a stand-up comedian, he was an actor, then he became president. Why was he in the news? Because there's a war between Ukraine and Russia. All right, so in this context, where you know he's been a stand-up comedian, tell me about, if you come across a video like this saying it's a dated video. Fun, right? Okay. True, false? That's again saying it's fake, but she is also by Reuters here as well. Now we have to split this chocolate. All right. Did you get one already? Okay. All right. Yeah, the next time we'll get more chocolates, I think. Yeah, we're giving a chocolate. I should also take picture. Come, come. Join, we'll give. No, that's okay. So this is the Zelensky Prize. It's between Russia and Ukraine. Okay, we'll stop. You want more? No, I think we'll stop for this. We'll stop. Huh? I think. All right. I think we'll open it up for questions. I'm so happy you could actually figure out a lot of stuff, and you also learned some basics of fact checking, right? So just know that you have the tools. And it's easy to empower yourself. You do not have to be dependent on some major person to do, although right now, like you're seeing, you have a lot of fact-checking organizations, and there's a list that I can show you, but they already publish stuff. It makes life easy for you. Invid? It's an app. It's a. It's not an app. It's a thing that you download and use as a for your. No, you'd have to use it on your system. On your system, you have for both Chrome and Firefox. It's an extension. Yeah. You can add it to Chrome or any other browser. Even in this, I think you can add it to your browser. On the phone also, I think it's now available. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fact-checking organizations, and I can show you a list. If you're interested. Right, there's a whole bunch of fact-checking organizations in India. Here are some of them. So if you search for the fact checks, you'll possibly have someone doing this already. All right, it's question time. Anything you want to ask about journalism, fact-checking, not life, but anything else? Anthony, you want to come up as well?
Ma'am, if the big media houses are owned by, capitalists or like very renowned businessmen, so what is the future of journalism in that case?
Okay, unfortunately, they're the ones with the money. So it is owned. So I think it's really important, very important that you brought it up, because already knowing who owns the media and recognizing if there is a bias in what they publish or they choose not to publish is important. And then you use the tools to actually figure out exactly what we said. That's also more reason to be skeptical of what you're consuming, right? Because you think, again, if you looked at mainstream media, that everybody in India is only partying with the pre-wedding scenes, right? It's not that. There's also everything else that's happening which is not getting as much coverage because yeah, it's one thing. It's
Yeah, yeah. Yes, news laundry. Yeah. 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 Not necessarily. So what's been happening, if you look at a lot of, so the model, the business model of news is changing, and a lot of independent organizations, whenever you visit their website like Scroll or Wire, they ask you to pay for it, right? So until readers fund it, there'll be trouble. So you have to fund news if you want that news, and it's been proved in places like the UK where the Guardian is entirely funded by the readers, and it is making a profit. And then you get the correct information. Yeah? But that's a very good question. Yeah. Yes?
Ma'am, do we hesitate to trust others because we don't trust ourselves? Or we don't trust ourselves because we hesitate to trust others?
That's a philosophical question, whether you trust yourself. I think you need to be able to trust your ability to smell fake, and you need to develop that ability. The trouble of trusting yourself too much is that you believe everything and you think you're right all the time. So there's a need to be skeptical both with the world and with yourself, right? Look for verification and proof.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. This is a sort of an advice question. Now AI is coming, and we are the aspiring journalists. So what are the advices you should give in these times? That how we should develop in according to challenge AI tools, and how we will upgrade with this thing.
Okay, I'll take that. Okay, so I think a part of the answer was with your question when you said how do you use the tools. AI is a tool, right? And you can use it to serve your purposes. I don't see AI replacing a journalist right now, because what the journalist brings is the human quality. And that's not something AI can replicate. It's a very good tool. There are places where it's been used to generate reports as well, some business reports, some sports organizations where they're using, where you just have to input data and it'll create a report. You have AI anchors. You have all of this coming, but it doesn't take away from what the journalist can do with the story, right? You can use AI for data. You can use it. It's a tool. It's a brilliant tool. You can't avoid it, and you shouldn't be scared of it. It's a tool just like everything else. When it's new, it can be disruptive. You have to learn how to use it.
Thank you. No, I think that's right.
Ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am, in newspapers, we have news and opinion pages also. It's a one page, I guess. So, ma'am, what is the purpose of an opinion page? Why, if you are saying that news, we should rely on news only. So why is there an opinion page?
Well, it's not that we should rely on news only. We also, if we have informed opinion by people who are experts in the area, it gives us a better perspective on the news. It tells us what's happening. So a lot of us, when we don't understand what's happening, when we read the news and we don't, for instance, if you were to read the Supreme Court and the electoral bonds and the SBI story, And if you don't understand what the problem is, then you go to an opinion column which will explain to you what the problem is. Yeah? So it'll analyze the situation for you, it'll give you background, it'll give you context, and it will also tell you why this is right or wrong. Okay? So when we don't know it and we are not experts on it, then you consult an expert who probably has an opinion on it. Yeah? Okay. You have a question?
Ma'am, after the emergence of social media, there is citizen journalism too. So that can it really be trusted to a level that we trust the famous sources like Times of India, NDTV?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Whether it's citizen journalism, whether it's NDTV, whether it's the Hindu. While we believe that the NDTV and Hindu and trusted media sources will give you the kind of information, will verify information. If citizen journalism is doing the same thing, you can trust it. But if it is not, you should not trust it. The answer finally lies with you. You have to ask the questions. So if you look at everybody watching Times Now every evening, or the Republic these days, right? Are they not asking questions? People who are watching this should be asking the questions. Yeah?
I think it's also about asking questions within the story. It's not just who's published it, whether it's citizen journalism, or to see who the people in the story are and have they given you enough facts to believe it. Right? So I can make up something and say it's a citizen journalism story. Have they given you enough, like Kanchan mentioned earlier, are you able to independently verify those sources? Then you believe it, right?
Yeah.
More questions?
We can close it.
No? All right. Thank you very much. It was lovely speaking to all of you. You are so good. It's so nice to see young people interact, ask questions, curious, because then you feel the future of the country is in safe hands.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're thinking already, and you have half the answers already. So
Yeah.
I hope you.
So thank you for listening to us, and thank you for interacting with us. It's just been wonderful for us. Thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you, ma'am. That was a wonderful session, and I suppose a very useful session for the students as well. Now, I would like to ask our head, Journalism and Mass Communication Department, Professor Jhumur Dattagupta, to offer the formal vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. It has been such an honor to be a part of this workshop on media literacy. On behalf of the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guests, Professor Kanchan Kaur and Professor Surekha Deepak, for sharing their knowledge on misinformation and media literacy, news literacy. Media literacy is the power by which we can stop misinformation. This workshop definitely help our students to learn to identify credible informations, recognize misinformations and disinformation, and determine what they can trust and share. Our sincere thanks to our respected Chancellor, Sri Shottam Rai Choudhury, Honorable VC, Professor Dr. Dhrubajyoti Chattopadhyay, Registrar Professor Shuman Chatterjee. I would like to thanks to our Dean, Professor Minal Parekh, and our beloved advisor, Professor Buroshib Dasgupta, for their constant support and inspiration. A wide round of applause and thanks to all the students and my dear colleagues who participated and made the events a memorable one. Thank you, one, and thank you all. Have a good day. Thank you so much.